So I've just spent 2 days skiing in Cervina, and I've done it with taking absolutely no annual leave for my job. Why did I do this? Well, I want to minimise the amount of annual leave I can take whilst also being able to go skiing. So lucky enough for me, I live quite close to Gatwick Airport. We booked a Friday and Sunday evening flight in the aim of getting 2 full days skiing. Right, so Friday, the 12th of December, we set off on a 1950 flight from Gatwick. I started work a little early and I was working from home, so this helped, but I only live about a 20-minute train away from Gatwick's, so I was able to get there with 2 hours to spare outside of work hours, leaving at 5:30 and getting there about 5:50. Once we got on this flight, everything was on time, nothing was delayed. We got there just after 11 and we picked our car hire up before midnight. Again, this is important because most car hires close at 10 or 11 and some are open till midnight, so it is possible. Again, if this isn't possible, I could always just stay at Milan Airport maybe and get up early the next day. However, we picked the car up and then decided to drive all the way to Cervina. Well, I say Cervina. Cervina is really expensive if you don't know it. Cervina Ski Resort is amazing. It's right next to Zermatt and the Matterhorn. It borders it and you can get an international pass for both of them. As you can imagine, with such a prestigious mountain comes quite a high cost when staying near it. We stayed about a 30-minute drive outside of Cervina, which was fine because we had a hire car. And for context, the hire car was about £50, and that was with a young driver's charge because I'm under 25, which sucks, but I guess it's not a bad thing being young, so I can't really complain. So the first day in Italy, we spent most of the morning in the runs around Cervina, which were lovely, but I will say they were quite crowded. Bearing in mind it was a Saturday, so I know what I'm signing myself up for by skiing on a Saturday, especially a weekend near Christmas. And then we spent more of the afternoon skiing in the, I'm going to butcher this, but the Valtonece area. Hopefully I've said that right. Again, we did this mainly to save costs, and the area itself is probably bigger than enough to do a full week skiing there. But again, our aim was mostly to ski the most different runs, see everything, and eventually see the Matterhorn on day 2. We had lunch on the piste as well, which was actually, I thought, reasonably priced. It was a €15 pasta, which works out to be about £13 something. I think that's fair for pasta on a mountain. And of course, a lovely beer to go with it. And then we finished skiing that day about 4 o'clock as the sun was setting. And some of the laps we were getting as the sun was setting were absolutely amazing. And it was just so scenic and surreal. Even though the slopes were quite crowded, the slopes didn't get as chopped up towards the end of the day as I thought they would have been. There was a few moguls that had been put in by people, which were annoying, but again, you know, it's Saturday, what do you expect? After that, we were pretty tired, but we decided to hang around at Cervina and have a little nose around, have a drink, and it was a lovely town, loads of restaurants, bars, and quite a lot of loud music playing around, so I imagine the après scene's quite good. But as I was driving, we decided not to partake in that. We were then pretty tired, so we actually headed back at about 7, back to hotel room, chilled for a bit, and then went to bed, ready for the final day of skiing. So for day 2, we were up early and we were on the lifts at about 9. We bought the international pass, which is €87, so about £76, which again is getting quite a lot for a ski pass, and the most I've paid for a day pass in Europe. Bear in mind, I've not skied in places that much in Switzerland or Austria. We managed to ski between 9 and 3, spending about 9 o'clock to 1 PM in Switzerland. The runs in Switzerland are absolutely amazing. So if you ever do this, you have to ski in Zermatt. The runs down the glacier, kind of around near the Matterhorn, a huge cruisy groomers, and it's just absolutely amazing. So we packed up about 3 o'clock, drove all the way back to Malpensa. We did have a bit of traffic, but by the time we handed the car in, it was about 6:20 PM and our flight was at 9:45. So we had plenty of time to get there and do everything. So, was it worth it? I would argue it is worth it, however it's really intense. You know, it's only a day after and I'm already pretty exhausted from it, and you have to really be up for it and be able to get up early. Again, you're not really getting much sleep, and Monday at work is definitely a drag, but it's just something you got to do if you want to do it without taking annual leave. So what did I actually think of the resort? So I thought Cervina, so we'll leave Zermatt and everything. I thought Cervina was actually really good. You know, it's really good ski area if you like high alpine skiing and you're probably intermediate or advanced skier because most of the runs on the piste map are labelled as red, which is good, but quite misleading because some of the reds I was like, oh, definitely these could be a blue. And then some of the reds I was on, I was like, how is this not graded as a black? It was just a bit unclear, but again, because I've been skiing enough times, I don't mind. I quite like a red run anyway. It means you can get like good turns in and really refine your skiing. Would I say it's better than some other European resorts? On its own, Cervinia's like a very good resort and it's very snow shore, which is amazing. However, it does lack that terrain diversity and the lift system isn't fantastic. It's got lots of lifts, but to actually get to the top, often you have to take 3 or 4 lifts, which is quite tedious and annoying. However, I did see they were advertising that they were building one gondola from the base of the Cervinia village all the way to the top near the Swiss border. So once that's built, that'd be a lot better, and I'd definitely say it's more worth it. However, when you include Zermatt in this price, and obviously you've got to remember you're now paying more for your ski pass, it does become a whole different resort. And the runs on the Zermatt side, especially near the top along the glacier, is probably the best ski runs I've skied in my life and some of the best in the world. So regardless if you were staying in Cervinia or Zermatt, you'd have to ski these runs. It's absolutely amazing. One disclaimer though, because it is very high alpine, it can get very cold and it's very exposed and windy. So there is a high chance they shut the links between Italy and Switzerland, or even the runs itself at the top. So you do have to bear that in mind. I could have easily spent a week there. I thought it was amazing. And just some final thoughts on this. Obviously it depends on what kind of job you do. Can you make this feasible? So if you do work from home or even you have Fridays off, this makes the trip like this very possible. Also how close you live to an airport. Are the flights late enough on Friday and Sunday night? So sometimes you might have to take 1 annual leave day to make this possible, or even 2, but I'd still argue it's very worth it and you can always find cheap accommodation, cheap car rental. So to go through the price breakdown of how much we paid £70 a night, totaling at £140 for 2 nights accommodation with breakfast, a 30-minute drive outside of Cervinia, lovely B&B, can't complain. Nice Italian breakfast in the morning was great. The flights were £43 return without a bag. Car hire was £50, as I said earlier. The ski pass was €63 just to ski in Italy, and then the international pass with Zermatt is €87. I'd argue that you could definitely just do the Italian one, but Zermatt's out of this world, so I think you just have to do it. The only drawback of doing Cervinia, I will say, is it's not a great beginner's resort. There's like one run kind of up the mountain where it's like a beginner's run, that's fine, and then there's some learning areas, but I would really strongly advise going to Cervinia and Zermatt as a beginner. Just a disclaimer with the Zermatt stuff, I've only skied the glacier ski area and the areas around that. There's 2 areas also, kind of just put them up here, and I'll just circle them, and I haven't skied those, so that's not, my opinion isn't based on that, but I feel like I definitely skied the best runs. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know if I've got anything wrong. That's obviously very important. Please subscribe if you like this video. I'm going to do a full Cervinia resort video as well when I get some more time. So yeah, thank you.